Hello, my name is Shane. I'm a peer guide. I live on the ninth floor, and I'd like to show you guys some healthy meals that maybe we can prepare today. I like to first preface that I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a licensed dietitian. I took nutrition one semester, and that's about all the knowledge professionally I have. However, I did learn a lot, and if you want a good natural science class, I would recommend nutrition highly. There's a lot I learned from it, and the main thing I would like to preface is that when shopping or buying for food, and I hope to demonstrate, make sure that you choose a variety of food, and locally sourced food is always more ethical and tastes better. So we even have some food straight from the garden out back today, and I think we'll just go ahead and start.
Alright, so probably the most important thing about cooking and pretty much anything these days is to make sure that your hands are properly washed and cleaned. Use warm water and antibacterial soap. Make sure that all your produce and your surfaces are equally clean, and when you touch raw food, such as eggs or fish, that you wash your hands between touching them and touching any of the other ingredients, a minimum of 20 seconds. So first of all, we're gonna start out with starting with the breakfast. So we're gonna take this whole wheat toast, and we're gonna make what I call eggs in a basket. I'm pretty sure that's common terminology. So I'm gonna take this cup, and I'm gonna cut a whole shape, or the best that I can. This bread's a little bit tough, so I'm gonna take the knife and I'm just gonna finish up the cut. This is gonna allow a small hole for the egg to caramelize underneath of the bread. We're going to set the egg right into the middle, as I'll show you in just 1 second. You can go ahead and snack on this piece of bread. We're not going to use it later. It really serves no purpose other than to just be a placeholder. You're going to see it probably hanging around in the video because I was debating on using it, but no purpose. So I'm also going to cut up a tomato just to add some fruit and some citrus, I suppose, to this otherwise sort of bland, basic breakfast. Alright, so as we enter the cooking portion, we're going to start off our pan or skillet with a little bit of neutral oil. I prefer olive oil or avocado oil because it has a pretty high smoke point. So we're going to go ahead and drop the basket in, and then we're going to crack the egg straight into the basket. I do this on probably a medium-high heat for the typical stove, adding salt and pepper to my discretion, but I do like a runnier yolk. So if you want a more well-done egg, I would probably do it on a slightly lower temperature and cook it for a lot longer. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add up these finishing touches, just cook it all the rest of the way through, and then as we serve it, I'm just going to throw the tomato on top to this otherwise pretty traditionally bland egg in a basket. Here we go. Voila, breakfast is complete. So moving on to lunch, what we have is a chicken and kale salad with pumpkin seeds and cranberries with just whatever dressing you prefer. I prefer no dressing, but that's just because I'm trying to lose weight. But anyway, so I would say one of the most important things about salads, if you get them pre-cut or not, is to make sure that you have a variety of different things, such as like in this salad, it's got Brussels sprouts, broccoli, radishes, 3 different types of kale, and 1 type of lettuce. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in the mix-ins of cranberries and pumpkin seeds that are roasted. I think adding fruit and different sort of proteins, especially plant-based proteins, to your salad is very important. Just having a variety of different ingredients is always better. So we're just going to throw this pre-cooked, grilled, and seasoned chicken into a pan with a small amount of neutral oil. This was cooked 1 day earlier. Using leftovers is very important. And then we're just going to throw that right on top of the salad. Simple as it can be. Salads are pretty simple. And there we go. Now, moving on to a snack. Just a Greek yogurt, strawberry banana, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some fresh strawberries to it. Adding fresh fruit to anything is just brings a lot of flavor back to the table that can be lost in processing of stuff such as yogurt. And I'm just going to cut these into very small pieces because I'm a texture eater, and I think it's just tastes better to me. And simple as it can be, snack complete. And now, moving on to dinner, the first thing that we're going to look at is minute rice. This is a very specific type of rice. Minute rice is super simple to cook, but I'll also go over how to cook normal cooking rice than minute rice after. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to half all of the citrus fruits, so 2 lemons and 1 lime. And we're just going to lay them flat side down. You don't want them rolling off the counter. It's much easier to cut with a flat surface. Pull out the salmon and pull out this pan. This pan we're going to drop 2 servings of asparagus on. I thought 1 serving was a little bit small, so I went ahead and just added a second serving. No harm, no foul. So we're going to go ahead and add the citrus fruit, a little bit of salt and pepper. Here I neglected to add a little bit of the zest, which all you have to do is take a little grater or a microplane and grate the pith of both lemon and lime over top. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And don't forget, like I did here, to add a little bit of neutral oil. I added it before it went to the oven, but I did not show. And I would use something with a very high smoke point, like avocado or olive oil. So when we're working with salmon, we're going to go ahead and work on a different cutting board, as well as using different fruit, because once you touch the salmon and you touch anything else, like the lemon or the lime, that lemon and that lime has to go into the trash. And I touched the salt shaker there. That needs to be wiped down before it can be used again. Please do not touch raw fish or raw egg or raw meat and then touch something else that is eaten without being cooked at an extremely high temperature. So just make sure, don't cross-contaminate. Very dangerous. Alright, now moving on to the cooking portion of dinner, we're going to go ahead and start out with the minute rice. With minute rice, it's equal parts water to minute rice. You drop the water in, and then you boil it. You drop the rice in. So I put it on high just to get it boiling really fast, but probably should have used a bigger pot because this boils over 3 or 4 times while cooking it. So probably use a slightly bigger pot than what I was using. It's easier also to make larger servings of rice because it tends to boil over less. And as we're waiting for that to boil, I'm just going to go ahead and throw in the asparagus into the oven for, I would say, about 10 minutes. Just kind of eyeball it, just depending on how many servings you have, into a 425 degree oven. So as you can see, some of the rice spilled out, but it should be fine. And we're going to wait for the rice to boil, and then we're just going to shut it off and pull it off the eye for a minute, let it cool. And then I push it back onto the eye to keep it warm, but after that, it's really all the way done. You add salt, your seasoning, and a little bit of butter, and voila. Normal rice, what you want to do is you want to throw the rice in with the butter before you add the water. Cook it just for a little bit. I would say around 2 to 5 minutes on a higher temperature. Make sure the butter's completely melted. Then after that, add your water, boil it, and same thing, just let it cool off. So we're going to go ahead and throw the salmon into the skillet with a little bit of neutral oil. We added salt and pepper once again. And then I went ahead and opened up this pesto just so that we could drop some pesto right on top of the salmon as it's blackening. You want to make sure that you are not moving the meat so much. Don't flip it too often. You want to get a lot of color before you really start moving it around. So for my rice, I went ahead and I added sesame seeds, salt, pepper, and a little bit of dill just to bring some more flavor, make it a little more interesting. And I think those sesame and dill really complement the pesto on the salmon. So you see I went ahead and I flipped it once and it's fully cooked on the bottom. I'm just going to top it with a little bit of pesto. You want to make sure that you don't cook the pesto too long. It's already processed. You can burn it really easily. I went ahead and added a little bit more oil, and you can see it's already smoking off, so I dropped the temperature a little bit lower. But with fish, you don't want it cooking too long, especially when it's off the bone, which hopefully it should be. But anything off the bone tends to dry out. So I'd cook it at a higher temperature just to get the caramelization and get it done. With fish, though, make sure that it is flaky. If you are uncomfortable with fish, ask for some help. And it's better to overcook than undercook a lot of the time. Food poisoning is not fun. So just make sure that your fish is very flaky. We're going to go ahead and keep on cooking just for a little bit longer just to make sure that this fish is done. We're going to add a little bit more pesto to the fish. Make sure to always keep a clean station as you're cooking. It's the fire that'll get you if you're not very careful. A lot of oil had splashed, so I went ahead and I wiped it up with a new rag because the other rag had some salmon on it. So make sure that even with your rags that you are changing them frequent and often whenever touching raw food. Alright, and as we finish up the fish right here, and we've checked on the asparagus, we're just going to lay this on top of that bed of rice and let it rest for just a moment. You should always let your meat rest. However, I don't think it's that important for fish. Fish is traditionally served skin side down. And now we've shut off the oven. We're going to pull out the asparagus that's been covered in lemon and lime and a little bit of neutral oil, and voila, doesn't that just look delicious? Here, we're gonna speed this up because you don't need to see me fiddle around with the asparagus. Well, it's really, really hot. And I think that pretty much concludes our cooking instruction. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for listening. I wish you the best of luck in your cooking endeavors.